Greetings. So in this video, we're going to go through the steps of configuring the AltspaceVR Multimedia SDK app. And so right here, I'm on the AltspaceVR Multimedia console portal, and we're going to use this for configuring the SDK app to load our content, our images and videos. And so let's get started. Here I am inside my office, and we're going to put a SDK app, multimedia app right here on top of this whiteboard. So the first thing I have to do is go into edit mode, editorial panel, and with making sure that the AltspaceVR button is highlighted, we're going to go ahead and click SDK apps. And right here is the multimedia. All right. And so we click that, it loads up. All right. So there we are. Now, it's very important that before you begin configuring the multimedia player, you have to come out of edit mode because you can't click the buttons while you're in edit mode. So if I'm in edit mode, you see I can click that, but I can't click this yes or this no right here. You come out of edit mode and then you'll be able to click the buttons. Now, before I click these buttons, I'm going to come back over here to the multimedia console. So we have to configure these controls first. And so before I do that, let me point out that the AltspaceVR multimedia player does not support YouTube, not the regular videos, nor the live streams, and it also does not support Twitch live streams. If you want to use Twitch live streams or YouTube live streams, you can use DLive TV. And DLive TV is free, it's easy to set up, and I'll make a video showing how to do live streams at some point in the future. For this video, we're going to keep it simple. And so any media that you use for this has to be hosted somewhere. The first questions, playback. Loop media playlist. As it moves through the list, when it gets to the end, what should it do? Should it loop back to the beginning or should it stop? So if you want it to loop, you'll have to make sure that you put a check mark in there. In this case, I'm going to not have it loop. I'm going to have it stop. The start method. I'm going to do auto start from the beginning. Okay, who can control the media player? Controlling the media player is hitting the next button, hitting the black back button, hitting the play button, all of that stuff. So if you want to only the owner is the only person that can do it, then you would select owner only. So I'm going to select all users for controlling it. Can configure the media player. That's what we're doing right now. We're configuring it. And so we're going to leave it at owner only. But you could, if you wanted admins to be able to configure it, you could select elevated users only. Because if you leave it at owner only, you would be the only person that would be able to configure the media player any further. Elevated users would allow for any of the other admins or elevated users of the world to be able to configure it. So I'm going to use owner only. And so once you've got all of that configured, we can begin adding media to our list. Okay, you're going to have to host your media, your images, your videos. You're going to have to host them somewhere because the multimedia console does not support YouTube videos or Twitch live streams. I host media on my server. If you have a server, you probably already know how to host your media. So you'll just get the URL to where you've hosted it and you'll configure that way. One free and easy to use source that you could use for hosting is Mozilla Hubs. Now, first of all, if you're building AltspaceVR worlds At some point in the future, you're probably going to want to build a Mozilla Hub world anyway. So may as well use their platform as a resource. Now this will work as long as your video or your picture is not too big. You can host it here. So what you'll want to do is you want to go inside of Spoke, following the steps I just made. You'll have to sign up and go through the steps. And once you're here in Spoke, you'll see My Assets. And you can see I've got tons and tons of assets in here. And that's because I've got a bunch of Mozilla Hub worlds that I've created. And so that's how I figured this out, is because it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I can use my pictures from here and host them over there. You see I've got these even named, like this one's named Dunder Multimedia Splash Image. This one is Go for Your Mouse Splash Image. This one is a video. So as long as they're real small, you can host them here. And I'm just going to use two of them that I've already got up here as example. So this is a image. If I click this image, down here I get the image URL. Now, in our media list, I'm going to hit the image one and then put the URL in. And you notice that the URL contains the file extension. It has to contain this file extension. So if it's an MP4 or a PNG, and so here we have the video. I'll click this video, grab this URL, hit the video, paste the URL in there. Notice it's an MP4. Okay, you can set the volume. So a 1 will be the loudest. 0.0 would be the lowest. And then, you know, anything in between then would be incremental. You can, the start time, the roll off distance, the end of the video action. So what do you want to happen? Do you want it to go to the next video? Would you like it to loop? So I'm just going to have stop and hit the check. So now you can save this. In the case that you needed to load it again, you could just hit save, and you could just save this media list JSON file, and then you would load it back in. So you can use that as a method of backing this up. But after you finish configuring your media list, you hit publish, and you're going to get this hyphenated two hyphenated words. It's always going to be 2 words separated by a hyphen. You copy that, come back over into your world, and if you're in VR, you just have to, you know, type it in. But what you do is you hit yes, and you'll get this prompt, and you just put those words in and click OK. And at that point, it's going to load up. Here we go. Let me move this over. There we go. So now we have it. Here I'm going to scoot it up because it's in the way of that. All right, so now if I hit next, you see it plays that video. If I hit next, and so you notice how I made this splash image with an arrow pointing at this next, because since I've got it set to, let me move this, since I have it set to start auto start from the beginning is going to auto start with that image, and then a person has to hit next, and then it'll go to playing that video. Now, let's imagine that we change this to manual. Watch how it's going to look. So I'll hit publish, grab these words. Let's go back, hit config, paste these words in, click OK. Now watch what happens. So it's just going to sit black like that unless a person hits play. Then when a person hits play, then it'll load the first item. So imagine if the video was first, then it would just play the video. But it's going to sit there black, just like waiting for someone to hit play, like with no logo, no indication of what's going on. So yeah, so I like auto start from the beginning and then putting a splash picture on there. And so when we select this, hit config, it starts off with the splash image. So basically, you just have to have somewhere where you're hosting your videos and pictures. If I wanted to host something here, like here's a MP4, like this is this. If I wanted to grab this, see, these are hosted. Like I can just copy this URL. You just have to get the URL. And so like if I wanted to paste this URL in here. See, notice how it still has the MP4. And we'll just hit that. I'll hit publish. Let's grab these words, hit config, paste these words in, click OK. So now you notice we've got 3 down here. If I hit next, that one plays. If I hit next again, that one plays. Now it's skewed because this video is a certain shape because I had it in a specific spot. So it has stretched it to 1920 by 1080, but there you go. A person can click that and then put the number in. So that's how you use the multimedia console. Important points to keep in mind is that it can't play YouTube videos. It don't play Twitch or YouTube live streams. And your URLs have to include the format, the media format. So if it's a JPEG, PNG, MP4, it has to be in the URL. If you have any questions, remember to submit a ticket. Peace.